Shalom. Just wanted to take the time out to, say hello to everyone first of all, and then most definitely to, I guess, give a little bit of Black History Month or a little bit Black History period, because this should be more than just a month. But anyway, first, most definitely, got to give thanks to the Father, most definitely the Creator. I wouldn't be here without him. Most definitely wouldn't be talking to anyone, without him. Most definitely, Tada Rabah Yahweh, Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, Uvain Barakatah, Ruach HaKadesh, Hello Yakalat Matil. All right, so like I said before, I'm gonna try to make this quick. Most definitely, I'll try. And you just make sure that you like, subscribe, share, help a brother out and create a frequency to get this truth out. It's not only for me, it's for edification for many, just like, share, subscribe. But anyway, like I said before, I'm gonna try to get a little bit of information out before individuals tune in and then make this longer than, what I want it to be. And basically just a presentation on, Black history, period, to add to the month. So right here, we start off with, Wikipedia, excuse me. And then, when you look at, say, the Kingdom of Judea, read it right here, okay, then, Judean polity of the 1st and 2nd century BCE. And then it says go into post-Mania dynasty and within the tribe of Judah. All right, so then when you go into the tribe of Judah, basically, do this. It pulls you into, if I can get it to do it. All right, it pulls you into the, the tribe of Judah, and then the disbursement along with, along with Black history, right? Along with the Kingdom of Judah, which resided down here. My mouse is over there. And then, it's broken in Ephraim, Gad, Manasseh, or Manassas, they go into the different areas of the disbursement of the 12 tribes. When the lands that they actually, claimed at that particular time. Some people believe it's a lot larger than that, but I guess that'll be another video for debunking or seeing if it lines up with the word, just like this does. All right, so then we come from Judea, or the tribe of Judah, Matah, Yahweh Da, tribe of Judah. In Hebrew, that's Matah, Yahweh Da. So then you go into Hebrew, and let's get a understanding what Hebrew is, and the reason why I kind of mention it along with tribe of Judea. All right, Hebrew is a northwestern Shemitic language, of the Afro-Asiatic language family. Afro-Asiatic language, meaning like my hair when it's out, that's an Afro. Women, that go the natural look and they have a lot of hair going all over the place, that's their Afro, your aphrodisiac. But anyway, or Afro-Asiatic language. Historically, it is regarded as one of the spoken languages of the Israelites and their longest surviving descendants, the Judeans and Samaritans. Samaritans, you should know who they are from Samson. But anyway, when you look right here, you have the Judeans. All right, so they're a Shemitic. It's the Shemitic language. It's Black people. Okay. All right. So keeping along with Black History. Black History Month. I'm sorry. Salakia. Now, the kingdom of Judea, Yehuda, Akkadian, Aramaic, and different, ways that they actually say Yehuda. That's the kingdom of Judah is Yehuda. Was an Israelite kingdom of the southern Levant. The southern Levant is the geographical region encompassing the southern half of the Levant. Okay, it is part of Israel, Palestine, Jordan, sometimes defined, also included southern Lebanon, Salakia, southern Syria, and or the Sinai Peninsula, but it goes into more description of that. So then we go down a little further. House of David, the house of King David, like I said before, is incorporating the Israelite kingdom. So basically that's saying Judea, the house of David, and Judea, Judah, and basically the 12 tribes, where you had the northern kingdom and then the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. These right here are the rest of the nations. And yeah, I'll make another video. I was gonna make a comment on that, but not right at this moment. Right here, you got this right area right here is the kingdom of Israel. Like I said before, it's consistent of, Shemites. That's all in throughout here. The 12 tribes of the house of Shem. So then, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, what I'm saying, the chosen ones, the ones that were supposed to live under, covenant. But I did a video on that. But anyway, but basically, if you keep going through this particular site, it tells how, basically it was all broken up and it was invaded or conquered by different dynasties, such as the Neo-Babylonian Empire and other regions, over there in that area that, that went against it. All right, so speaking on that, I'll go back. All right, so Assyria, which is up here, conquered the top part of Israel, which was the kingdom of Israel. Judah kept going on. The house of King David and Judea, it still existed. So when this particular part fell, it became under Assyrian rule. So when the Assyrians got control of this, let's back it up a little bit. When the Assyrians invaded, you had people like the Bantu tribe, the Igbo tribe, and other nations or tribes flee from this particular area, and they pushed down and they ran through Philistine. Philistine. The Philistine states, that's right here. They ran down through here, and then to try to escape through, Egypt, and then they ran over into, which was considered Africa or Africa. But anyway, it was considered Africa. And they started to settle down, and well, I'll get to that. Still Black History Month, right? All right, so when the Assyrians took this over, they didn't like them at all. So basically, Judah kept on going, and then with the Jerusalem as, it's still its capital, and it was conquered by the Babylonians, and then later on the Neo-Babylonians, and then the Babylonians first under King, that guy, his name was King Nebuchadnezzar. King Nebuchadnezzar conquered, and then he dispersed different Hebrews to different areas. So keep in mind that all Hebrews, they're Black, Shemitic Hebrews. So Judea, and the 12 tribes are incorporated into this as well. So that's why I mentioned the Bantu people, the Igbo people, and other descent like Dan, Asher, the other 12 tribes. They tried to flee away from, all of the destruction that was going on because they didn't do well. Yeah, they refused to follow the Father, the one who kept saying who he was, the one that everybody is supposed to be bowing down to, and all of the great deception is broken through, and it's happening now. But anyway, with that being said, I won't drag this out on this particular page, even though I can, because it goes through the whole history. Their bone, the 10 tribes rebelling against Rehoboam. I mean, it gives a nice little breakdown. So that's why I use this particular site here. And like I said before, anybody ever wants to see whatever sites that I use, you could actually just look up here and basically pause the video, do whatever you have to do, or make a comment or whatever. And then I guess I could leave the link somewhere. But basically, I just found it off a random search. And basically, you can too. And as you see, it's from Wikipedia. So, the house of Judea, Shemitic, Black, Shem, you know what I'm saying? Chosen ones, covenant, 12 tribes. The house of Judah was allowed to come back to their own land. And remember when I said when Babylonian captured them and then took them back, and then they was allowed to go back. But like the northern kingdom, they strayed from the Father and were unfaithful. They strayed from the Father and were unfaithful. So they fell to the curses again to be kicked out of their land, like the prophet came to try to warn them. But anyway, unfaithful, violence, hostility, and tension followed them through the Hellenistic kingdom era, and Judah, known as Judah, known as Judea, by this time was under Roman rule by the end of the Hashmonaean area or Hashmonaean area. All right, so now they're under Roman rule. Babylon, they was allowed to go back, but Rome had moved in and took the north, Rome now moved in and took this Judea. They was under Roman rule. Okay, so now and again, you had the northern kingdom, they get beat all up, or yeah, they lose the war to the Assyrians, and then they're in captivity with individuals that's working with the Romans. So that's how you get the Sahara's Salathia. You have the Sahara slave trade that start off, and then the transatlantic slave. We talking about Black history, right? Right. So we have the transatlantic slave trade that kicks off. So basically, Sahara comes first with the Syrian captivity empires, and then they spread all down and around. And then the next thing you know, the Romans concocted something with the Babylonians, and then the next thing you know, they working with Edom and all the other surrounding nations in order to conquer this one little particular area. That's and the only reason why they still strong the whole time because of their faith and them following Yahweh. No questioning, no nothing. Believing that the Messiah was coming. All right. So throughout when the destruction of this, they went over to Rome, they went up into Portugal and Spain. I'm moving a mouse like that because the different geographical locations of where the countries are of what I'm saying. Then it's not anyway. All right. So now remember, Rome took this, Assyria took this, but it's going to be a battle right there that's going to take place. That's a little bit down the line to where everything is still under Roman rule. All right. So now you under Roman rule. What are the houses of David and Judah? All right, we can look here. All right, the tribe of Judah, descendants from Pharaoh, was divided by Yahweh into two houses, the house of David and the house of Yehuda. Judah, David, and Yehuda. David Yehuda. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob, and Jacob was later was later named Israel because the father of Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Yehuda, Dan, and more. It was Israel. They all made one. They all made one, even with Judah included, even though Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, they merged. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, they merged. Then you had the northern tribes that consisted of Reuben, Simeon, Dan, Naphtali, a lot of the remaining tribes, or the remaining nations, the other nations. What happened in 70 AD in the Bible, all right, which actually happened in real life? All right, AD 70, Titus destroyed Jerusalem when tax revenues were low. He seized silver from the temple, and then the uproar against him grew. In AD 66, he sent troops into Jerusalem who massacred 3,600 citizens. Flores's actions touched off an explosive rebellion, the First Revolt. All right, so this happened in 66. So the destruction of the temple actually didn't occur until 70 AD. They was totally destroyed. And so now, again, you got our people running from persecution from this area here. They're running from persecution from this area here. So basically, this area is already under control and in slavery, and already repopulated the area. Then they destroyed this one, and then repopulated the area. Meanwhile, the real people of this particular region, they done hauled, they out of there, they ran. They just trying to, do anything that they can to live, do anything that they can to live. All right, so then basically they started scattering, and then, they just running all around, and we're talking about Black history, right? All right, this is historyrevised.com, the Kingdom of Judah in West Africa. So remember I told you, and basically this particular individual by P. Henry, okay, I can't really see it, but this particular individual being descendants when, how the Roman rule fell over, the Jewish individuals, or Judea, because we weren't Jewish, we were Judea, we were Israelites, we were Israelites. In West Africa, Judea bordered by the Gold Coast, Guyana, but it's Gold Coast now, or it was called Gold Coast to the west, and Benin to the east, and is settled within modern Togo. All right, I didn't want to read this, but it's occupied. It's right here. It's actually talking about this particular area in the region here. The Europeans have designated by various names of Vedat and these different Hebraic names. The region ancient authors called Judah or Yehuda or Judea were called Judaic. All right, these people were called Judaic. All right, remember Judah, Judaic, Shemitic, Black History Month. But anyway, Judaic, and indeed they were regarded as the remnant of the lost tribes of Israel. All right, the ancient writers, recluses referring to an area, the Hebrews author of the Bible. And basically the word said that, we would run down in these particular areas. We would flee to the mountains. We would flee from the person, the invading armies that was going to take us down because of the curses, because we strayed from the Father, Black History Month. So basically, they all in this particular area here, which was named the Kingdom of Judah. But keep in mind, we occupied, or the 12 tribes, and the 12 tribes that ran down from persecution at first, they started settling all through northwestern Africa, and then they started running a little further because, like I said before, the Englishmen and different individuals and Britishmen and all kinds of nations was coming in, and especially the Sahara slave traders, the Arabians were coming in on us kind of strong. to where Muslims, but to where they was killing our people and coming at us with swords and stuff like that. And if we didn't violate the covenant or become impure, they was going to kill us. They was going to kill our kids. They was going to keep our kids because they could use the backs. They could use their labor. So basically, we ran down from persecution from these two areas, and we took up the northwestern region of Africa, fleeing from persecution from everybody. And then we ended up and then had an area to where they market us, but it was called Kingdom of Judah, or Yehuda. Hope I'm enunciating that correctly. I think I am, Yehuda, but I normally say Yehuda, Yehuda. Slave coast, Eber as the father, or Eber as the father, but yeah, you know how they mess with the names. And basically that's what they did. They started to change the names of different places. And when they did conquer this particular area, and everybody that was in captivity up from the northern coast and everything, they knew that these people, the 12 tribes, started running and started hiding in here. And then they worked with I get to that. All right. Evidence that Judah was inhabited by the descendants of Jacob, who were subsequently deported during the transatlantic slave trade, can be found in the written testimonies of Yehuda Equino. He was captured at age 10 from the former Bavaria or something like that, just above the desert of Seth. The desert of Seth. All right, so basically all of these particular areas, like I said before, that's why some discrepancy in, I guess, the geographical locations depending on the Pangea and different things like that. But I'm working with the Pangea. I have something for the Pangea weather. Yeah, something. But to keep moving on, they have many offerings, particularly at full moon, talking about the description of the individual Judeans that was actually there. Generally to a harvest before the fruits are taken off the ground, and when any young animals are killed. Sometimes they offer a part of them as a sacrifice. All right, so they go through the different sacrifices or the different tradition or Judaic ways of Judea or Yehuda. So then remember what I was telling you. So before they started getting in there and market us and start breaking the land off, this was considered to be Negro land. So basically Negro land. Ham, the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes, not the Negroes. The Negroes were of Shemitic blood, Shemitic descent. Jacob, Judah, the chosen people. Follow me now. They're the chosen people. And the 12 tribes of Israel, all of the Father's favorites, all in one house. That's his chosen people. To him, he saw us as one nation, although we were different tribes within a nation. All right. It is now common knowledge that the merchants and slavers, huh? Where'd that come from? Where did merchants and slavers come from? That kind of confused me. Okay, slave coast. Okay, 1771, slave coast, Black History Month, right? All right, it is common knowledge that the merchants and slaves knew that the exact origins of the people they took captive from West Africa because they recorded some of their names. All under Catholic rule. All right, I'm gonna keep going. All under Catholic rule. And these are the different names. And you see Yahweh, Yakavah, Hawa, or Haya, Hawa, Yahweh, and the different names. According to Portuguese slave records. Now the Portugal slave, remember when I said, when the Northern Kingdom and the Southern, when the Northern Kingdom ended up, the Southern Kingdom, the Southern Kingdom ended up in slavery, or it fell to the Romans. A lot of individuals got deported into Portugal. or according to, yeah, in Portugal. So they got deported over into Portugal, and this is under Roman rule. You know what I'm saying? This is all a design. It's all Black History Month, Black History Month. Hallelujah, Yahweh, Black History Month. All right, Bahashem Hamashiach, Yahweh Uvain Barakata, Ruach HaKadosh. God. Anyway, according to Portuguese slave records, their names were not constructed from terms such as Lord. It was not constructed of names such as Lord, Jehovah, Elohim, Adonai, but were variations of the name Yahweh. They changing that right there, the yo to a W sound, but it's not Yahweh, it's Yahweh. Yahweh. Y-H-W-H. Y-A-H-A-W-H. I mean W-A-H. All right, providing that they knew the real names of the God of Abraham, or the Abram, the exalted father of Abraham. And basically, they started tracking them all through these Cameroon, Benin, Togo, Guyana, all the way down. Like I said before, the Igbo people had also started running them down into this particular area, trying to flee captivity, persecution, rape, murder, pillage, and all of that type of stuff that we was under. Then you have Nigeria, which is actually was called Nigeria, which is supposed to actually represent just the color of a people, particular people of a non-Canaanite or non-Hamite descent. And basically, Salakia, the land of Judah was described in 1793 as being beyond description for beauty and deception, and was so popular that one village contained as many inhabitants as the whole kingdom of the Gold Coast. So, all right, I'll just keep it moving. So now we can track Yehuda or Judah, which was of Shemitic Black History Month descent, all the way down. So let's go. We done found out they done ran in now. We trying to hide. But we still under persecution because they're hunting us, like my father used to do. They're tracking and hunting us. Call it like a blood trailing. But anyway, if you hunt, you know what that means. All right, so we all chilling down in there, Africa, in the southern regions of Africa, right? I mean, really, we all chilling down there in the southern regions of Africa, and then we're thinking that, you know, we're gonna survive. We're gonna hang out with these Canaanites and stuff like that. But then the Canaanites started saying, look, you know, when I say Canaanites, the Africans, the bloodline of Ham, started like not wanting us dead because, you know, we started to grow in numbers. Remember that last article, we started to grow in numbers. So when it says Africans sold other Africans into slavery, that is not true. Africans sold Israelites into slavery. They didn't like the fact that we were growing in population, and they knew what was going on because of the Sahara slave trades that was going on prior to. So, you know, they knew, they started making deals with the other nations. Like I said, Egypt, the Egyptians and all of that, they started coming against us. The African tribesmen would sell Israelite locations to what our people would look up and see one day, just this right here, floating right up where they live at, this little funny looking ship. This little funny looking ship. And then you look at that little funny looking ship, Black History Month, right? We worshiping Yahweh. We know that Yahweh Shai is coming. There was no manipulation by the scribes and Pharisees at this particular point with the word at all. They were speaking Paleo Hebrew. All right, let me just keep going. I just had to add that. They were speaking Paleo Hebrew. They knew who the Father was. There was no vibe then. There was nothing else. So then when this particular time after them being established, then they don't know nothing about the other cultures because they trying to stay to themselves and still be Hebrews. So during a particular time, you had the apostles move into what's called Israel today. Then they they formulated what was the Maccabees. And then the Maccabees were a mixture of individuals that became Jewish individuals, while the Judeans or the real Judea ran down into South Africa, was still keeping their cultural ways, still speaking a dialect of English of Hebrew that later became Yiddish, and they tried to say that Yiddish Hebrew is what it was always known as, and that is totally, it could be proven not true. So therefore, we look up, and our people don't know of these particular people here. These are people from across the waters. These are the people that's coming by ships. These are the people that's coming by ships. So our people look up and they see this ship coming up. So then they look at the side of this ship and they say, dang, Jesus of Lubeck, the first slave ship to arrive in Africa. They see Jesus show up in Salakia. All right, no disrespect, but anyway, our people standing there, and then they see Jesus of Lubeck, the first slave ship to arrive in Africa. So once Jesus of Lubeck get there, let's do a little. Our people don't know what Jesus of Lubeck is, so now they're being introduced to the Kraken, the correct Jesus of Lubeck. This is coming from World History Encyclopedia. So this particular ship, 9 times out of 10, did exist. So here you have a depiction of what they saw when they seen this funny looking ship, and they described the ship as cannons out of the side of it, set with sails, a lot of them, like from a fleet or armada or something, right? We know what those are, right? So then they have these little different boats that's tied to it to pull, I guess to transport or to go jump from ship to ship, from pillage and kill. Well, I'm not gonna go there, but they had these little boats to where they could jump back and forth to the coast, right? Or to different vessels. All right, an illustration of the correct Jesus of Lubeck or Lubeck used by John Hawkins in 1532 through 1593 CE to transport slaves from West Africa to the Americas in 1560s. Like I told you, they was tracking us the whole time. I already showed you, they was tracking us the whole time. Ever since we ran from persecution all the way down to we ran into Africa, they hunted us down. All right, so once they started getting us all together, and what did they do? We shall be going to our captivity, and then God, worshiping a God that we never knew, such as a Jesus of Lubeck, and basically driven by a dude named John Hawkins. I'm just gonna keep going because it's Black History Month, right? Right, Black History Month. All right, so to transport slaves from West Africa to the Americas in 1560. All right, so then go down a little further and we look at the different little images and everything that they show about the individuals that's supposed to represent. All right, so basically this is the destruction to try to get rid of Yahweh's people and confuse Yahweh's people and to kill all of Yahweh's people and to distort Yahweh's chosen ones. So Yahweh, well, anyway. All right, let's look to see if, John Hawkins actually really existed. We got him in World History Encyclopedia. John Hawkins, born in Plymouth in 1532 CE. He traded had trader and mariner blood in his veins. Trader and mariner blood in his veins. All right, so then we go down, we look, what was the significance of Sir John Hawkins' first voyage? We're talking about the same person, right? John Hawkins, right, y'all? All right, so Hawkins' first voyage was the earliest example of the triangular trade, which grew into the most profitable trade route in the world for years to come. In addition, Hawkins' first voyage was a huge success with his his investors, and he gained a massive amount of maturity and prestige. He got money and fame and popularity. Well, money gave fame and pop. He had the money and the power, right? And he figured out a way, a route to transport individuals back and forth. Let's see. Oh, trading back and forth with his good ship Jesus. All right. So then John Hawkins pioneered the Atlantic triangular slave trade by being the first merchant to follow the route and turn a profit at each stop. He made money at every stop. He was hustling off of stolen merchandise. I was getting ready to blow the screen up and just look at you for a second. You individuals, all right, I'm just saying, he was making a killing off of free merchandise. All right, so I'm gonna stop. I'm just gonna go ahead. This Black History Month, right? So we may as well know all of Black history, I guess. Oh boy, what? Anyway, all right, and then they got more stuff to say about this dude killing the breeze and him in the encyclopedia and all of his ventures, and then we keep finding more and more stuff on this dude, and then it says, yes, sir, John Hawkins had the dubious distinction of becoming the first slave ship captain to bring Africans to the Americans. Hawkins was a religious gentleman who insisted that his crew serve God daily and love another. His ship, ironically called the good ship Jesus, left the shores of his native England, for Africa in October 1562. He arrived at Sierra Leone, and in a short time, he had 300 blacks in his possession. He just went out and found 300. He just went out and found 300 blacks. What did he do with them? All right, it's sure he had 300 blacks in his possession. Salafi. Hawkins claimed to have acquired them partly by sword and partly by other means. You got some with the sword and you got some by other means. The good ship Jesus, the beginning of the British slave trade. The good ship Jesus was come to be referred as the good ship Jesus. Was in fact the Jesus of Lovat, a 700-ton ship purchased by King Henry VIII. And then I'm not paying for this site, so that's all I'm gonna use for this one. But man, I'm like, all right, it's Black History Month. It's Salafi. I just gotta say that when you hear me laughing, it's because, it's not because of any ignorance or anything towards the individuals for believing in whatever they want to believe in. It's just that the individuals went so far as to destroy us as who we are or who we're supposed to represent as a people, as a person, as anything. So with that being said, it's just like you just got to look at the different aspects of what these individuals went through in order to destroy us, take our land, fix it to a way we can never come back to where we never existed. We migrated down into Africa, running from persecution, running from all kinds of heinous acts that was performed by Christians. I'm just doing a recap. We did heinous acts that was performed by Muslims and Christians and of all the other God or all the other nations that worshiped another, any other God other than Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In the Bible that you carry today, no matter if you, whatever evangelist or evangelistic or, you reading from Hebrew manuscript, basically the Messiah was Hebrew. Yahshua was Hebrew. The creator, Yahweh, was Hebrew. He wanted us to remember his name. Black History Month, right? I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but right, this is Black History Month. You got to know your history. So we're going to keep on going a little bit. And most definitely, one way to know who you are is to know who you are. All right, so right here. Boy, did I read that part? Yeah, I read that part. All right. Like I said before, it's just crazy how that all played out. All in to destroy a nation in order to destroy the people. So basically, we track us all the way back. I tracked us all the way back to Judea, Israel, 12 tribes. Now it's Black History Month. Now we done went through running from persecution, running from captivity, running to save our children, running to save our lives, and then still refuse to worship another God, which we did free willingly under influences of societies and people that ultimately ended us destruction as a nation of people. It destroyed us as a nation of people. So now you got us from our people, our babies. Well, us, we're the babies, you know, but our forefathers, our ancestors, murdered, killed, chased down. And then they hiding over into, they ran and was hiding over there and trying to develop again and started prospering again. And then we end up in Negro land, in the Ivory Slave Coast. And now introduction to a slave ship, Jesus. This time you go into captivity by what? Ships. Wake up. All right, so how England's first slave trader lured Africans on his ship, on his Jesus ship and sold them into slavery. How England's first slave trader lured Africans. Oh, and it's this guy again? It's this guy again. All right. Let me see, y'all. John Hawkins. It's him again. All right, let's see. Like I said, there's a lot on this guy here, huh? All right, so the historical records hold that in 1502, Juan de Cordoba, or whatever, Seville became the first merchant to send an African slave to the New World. Since it was only in its early stages, merchants were allowed by the Spanish authorities to sell only 1 to 3 enslaved Africans. But they're calling us Africans, but they're just saying that. I mean, really, they know who they have. Trust me, I just showed you that they know who they have. However, when the English joined the slave trade in 1562, 60 years after the Spanish, they soon scaled the trade in humans with devastating consequences to Africans, to Judea, to the 12 tribes. In October 1562, John Hawkins of Plymouth became the first English sailor known to have obtained African slaves, approximately 300 in Sierra Leone, for sale in the West Indies. He dropped some in the West Indies. He was making money. Hawkins traded the slaves illegally with the Spanish colonies, but the trip was profitable and others followed. These contributed to the increased tensions between England and Spain. So basically you got this ship right here showing up to our people right here. And it ends up with just devastating consequences to individuals as a nation, and especially us. Tilapia. I don't know what's going on. Can I get my screen back? I want to stop the truth. Hopefully this works. I mean, I don't really have to, show it. I can finish it off by saying it. But most definitely, it's always good to show you as I go along. And like I said before, it's only when this truth is coming out do I ever have problems with my, I guess, my transmitting of my internet services. All right, so basically, I just had to show you exactly what he was saying to individuals, to lure individuals onto his slave ship. I mean, like I said before, it's always better to tell you than to try to, to show you and tell you than to try to tell you along, because with thick-skulled or stiff-necked, right? Oh, come on. Salaki. But anyway, oh, there we go. Only thing I was going to say, and I can recap just to prove to you. All right, just to prove to you that I'm gonna do a brief summary, just to prove to you I know what I'm talking about. Before I show you, he in turn by pulling up to Native Africans and different individuals and telling them that Jesus was salvation. And although his Jesus of Lobai slave ship or Lobai ship, that was the thing he was teaching or preaching to get people onto his ship. So once individual Israelites running from captivity, they're running from all types of discrimination, and because of they being black and who they are, sort of like it's Black History Month, right? All right. So he ran down, and then he actually told them that they could have salvation on the Jesus Alobai, and basically was going to carry them off into another land or whatever, and everything. All right, and then they would be free. They would have salvation. They would have salvation. All right, so. Come on. Don't want me to get this out, right? I can close it right there because for real, that's what it actually says. I do not believe this. All right, my people, brothers and sisters, we're losing all types of transmission. I don't know what's going on now. It's like my computer is frozen now. All right, now we get it somewhere, I guess. Can I get it back? Starting to do something. I'm gonna check and see what is going on. Yeah. All right. So from right here, trying if it acts straight, we have Francis Drake accompanied Hawkins on his 1562 voyage, and so then it is. I mean, is it anyone to that politics personal opinion? I don't support his site. Basically, if it doesn't line up with the word, I don't support any site. Okay, so all of these references that I'm looking through, they different records. These are just records and proof that I accumulate over time, and I keep a ton of proof just in case. So if I had to point any Judeans, these are the Judeans. This is what they look like, the house of Judah. The ones who are there now are not the original Hebrew Shemitic Judea. They're Jewish individuals. This right here is a picture of the individual Judeans that they had between 1562 and 1567. Hawkins and his cousin Francis Drake made 3 voyages to Guinea and Sierra Leone and enslaved between 1,200 and 1,400 Africans. Salakia, my cousin's calling me. I'm gonna call you back, cuz. All right. Mind you, these men and women and children would have contained some of the, all right, he's giving this opinion again. I'm only dealing with the facts. With the slave trade providing more profitable than plantations, Hawkins' slave trading path involved selling for the West African coast, and sometimes with the help of others contributing African natives. He kidnapped villagers. He would then cross the Atlantic and sell his cargo with others sold to Spanish or to the Spanish. Because keep in mind, we had to buy Florida back from the Spanish. Keep that in mind. We had to buy Florida back from the Spanish. So with this slave trade provided more profitable than plantations, Hawkins' slave trading path involved sailing for the West African coast, and sometimes with the help of other corrupted African natives, other Africans. He kidnapped villages. He would then cross the Atlantic and sell his cargo with the others sold to the Spanish. Hawkins' personal profit from selling slaves was so huge that Queen Elizabeth I granted him a special coat of arms. He was appointed a treasurer for the Navy in 1577 and knighted in 1588 by the Lord High Admiral Charles Howard following the death of the Spanish Armada. Hawkins' slave business only concluded in 1567, not out of violation or repentance, but because his fleet, which he included a ship by Francis Drake, took shelter from a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. The fight with the Spanish led to the loss of many of his men. All right, then he goes through and says how, and describes how, Hawkins took a butt with them from the Spanish because they was like, nah, dude, you gotta stop all of this. But he just kept on going with it because he was making so much money. As with many things, which cast aspersions on claims by enslaving slaves and people that they regret slave trade. Hawkins has numerous political moments in history in Plymouth. Hawkins has numerous public monuments in his name in Plymouth, including the Sir John Hawkins Square. So they gave this guy all he's famous with them, all because of enslaving Judah, the 12 tribes, breaking us down and selling us. Breaking us down and selling us. Remember, like I told you, Florida, we had to buy back from the Spanish. You know your history. You should know all your history for the Black History Month. I mean, this is just a month video, so that way most definitely my subscribers, likers, and most definitely sharers can help get this truth out there. We actually was brought into captivity by a person that had he made so much money off of enslaving us that the world capitalized off of it. America became famous and a great, you know what I'm saying? So then selling, Hebrews that was targeted, Israelites that were targeted. And my thing is that, throughout this particular, era, I mean, we're just right here. However, neither thousands of Africans killed and enslaved by Hawkins and Drake, nor the millions who perished in the period that followed, have monuments erected in their memory at all. So we may go ahead and restore what they was trying to really destroy. Yahweh, his memorial to us for generations. He was trying to destroy Yahweh, his memorial for generations. That's what all of them was trying to do. By killing Semitic Africans. If you say it in another kind of way, instead of Africans, killed Semitic Africans or Judeans, the real bloodline of Israel. Not 70 AD. We fled to the other parts of Africa. We ended up on a slave ship, Jesus. And once we ended up on a slave ship, Jesus, we got dispersed to the other nations by ships. And once we got dispersed to the other nations by ships, we ended up in America. We ended up in the different Caribbean Sea islands, sold as individuals slaves. We was brought basically to a point like this in the Americas. We was brought basically to a point like this in the Americas. I mean, if anybody can't see the truth in this, I'm like, really? How blind are you? They took your God away from you. They took your Savior away from you. Then they had manipulation with taking the Father's name away from the people when they totally destroyed us. Well, they destroyed us as a nation. Then they totally destroyed us when they took our God from us. And they gave us a good ship, Jesus. They gave us a good ship, Jesus. I mean, really. Hope this, edifies a lot of people, to know who you came from, to know who you are. As the Judeans that ended up in the Americas, Salafi, as the ones who were killed ever since 70 AD, hunted down, persecuted by the Romans and other nations in that area, by Christians and Muslims, other African kings of Ham, sold our people into slavery. Sold our people into slavery. So now you know your full Black history. Now you know your full Black history. It's up to you. In a land where we would serve other gods by ship. And then even when you tell our people that who they are, some won't even take the time to hear you, while some hear you, but then they still cling on to a slave ship, Jesus, and other doctrine is telling you that you can eat pork, you can live lawless, you can live a totally different covenant. When he said that he ain't come to change the Father's word, not one jot, not one tittle. He came in order to teach the word. He kept the Sabbath. He encouraged you to do so as well. Even in Paul's letters, he encouraged them. These are our people. These are our ancestors. These were the ones that was running around talking about trying to remember. Well, even the older guy that's right here, he would have been a baby when he was first shipped over here. The older Hebrews, they didn't want. They didn't want this Hebrew. They ain't want that Hebrew. They ain't want that Hebrew. They ain't want that Hebrew. Nah, they ain't want none of them Hebrews. They wanted that Hebrew. They wanted that Hebrew. They wanted that Hebrew. Them the ones that they wanted. So for generations, you could whip their children, and their children's children across their backs until they accepted new names and new gods. Kumbaya, my Lord. Hallelujah, Yahweh. They whipped them across their backs, giving you nothing but raw. I mean, because it was murder that our people got here. Why? Because of who we believed in. It was that important to destroy us as a nation because of who we believed in and to steal our identity and our fame. But it's not our identity and our fame that was at hand. It was our identity and our fame that was hidden within the Father in Christ. We messed up. We stepped outside of the law, statutes, commandments. We started accepting New America. We started accepting Babylonian ways. We started accepting Sumerian ways. We started accepting Gentile nations. Gentiles basically is just saying a Hebrew can even be a Gentile, you know, but so basically we're just saying Gentiles. I'm just saying it in a sense of the other nations, other than Hebrews, of who we are. The ones that ended up in the slave trade, the ones that was given a savior name, good ship Jesus. When the savior's name is Yahweh Shah, Yahshua, Yahweh Shah. Abram, the exalted Father, Yahweh, Yahweh. You got to go ancient. You can't talk moderate Hebrew nowadays. You can't go Yiddish and enunciate the Father's name or the Son's name correctly, or even speak Aramaic or Grecian or whatever and call him Jesus when he was Hebrew. The Messiah, Hebrew. Abraham, Hebrew. Shemitic, Hebrew. Judea. Is it ringing any bells yet? Seek ye first the kingdom of Abraham. Seek ye first the kingdom of Abraham. It's just a tragedy of what they did to us. All in trying to wipe the Father's name and his fame. His fame is coming back. And when he comes back this time, he's going to put it on everybody's hearts. And it's not going to be any misconception of no name. And he's already leaving clues, and he's leaving chosen ones to pick it up. It's going to be a lot that's going to reject it. That's why only a selective few will be saved. Because wide is the path to destruction, but narrow is the path to truth. I wonder why he said that. Me being an Israelite, I think I know why. People looking at me like I was crazy, and I'm like, man, it's in black and white, literally. And sometimes you can find colored, sites. So like I said before, to return back to Abraham Yahweh, the exalted Father Yahweh, YHWH. Remember him. You gotta remember him. Wake up. It's calling you to wake up. Wake up. Hashem HaMashiach Yahweh. All right. With that being said, most definitely, I'd like to give thanks to everybody that had time enough to sit here and listen to me rant and rave about Black History Month. But I just had to get the full Black history out there. The full Black history out there. all in the fame of the name of Yahweh, Bahashem Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, Uvain Barakata, Ruach HaKadosh, Etlo Yakalet, the Tir. And with that, I'd like to just go ahead and tune it out. Hopefully, everyone, Barakatah to you all. Bless you all. Shalom alaikum. May the Father keep his grace and mercies upon you. And most definitely let him open your mind to be able to receive his Ruach Kadesh. His Ruach Kadesh. That I like to say. Peace.